In the small sun-drenched village of Obinago, situated in the heart of southeastern Nigeria, lived a young girl named Chimamanda. She was the only child of her late parents, who had died in a tragic car accident when she was just 5. Left with nothing but memories, she was raised by her aging grandmother, Mama Nenna, a woman of great wisdom but little means. Despite their poor status, Mama Nenna never let Chimamanda wallow in despair. She raised her granddaughter with the values of hard work, honesty, and kindness, reminding her every day that a good name is better than riches. By the time Chimamanda turned 18, she had grown into a striking young woman, tall, dark-skinned, and graceful, with intelligent eyes that held both sadness and strength. Though life in the village was tough, she never complained. She worked tirelessly, helping her grandmother sell palm oil and vegetable at the market, all while nurturing a deep love for traditional folk tales. One fateful morning, Chimamanda woke up before dawn, as she always did, to fetch firewood. The morning mist still clung to the trees as she took the familiar bush path that led into the forest. She was humming an old folk tune when something odd caught her eyes. A black briefcase, half hidden under dry leaves. Curiosity sparked in her chest. She sat down her bundle of sticks and carefully pulled the briefcase free. It was heavy. Her hands trembled as she unclasped it. The moment she opened it, her breath hitched. Stacks upon stacks of crisp foreign currencies, pounds, dollars, and euros filled the briefcase. She had never seen such money in her life. Her heart pounded. Who could have lost this? She wondered. She knew what such wealth could mean for her and Mama Nenna. They could leave poverty behind, build a proper house, afford good food, and even send her to school. But as quickly as the thought came, she shoved it away. This money is not mine, she whispered. She closed the briefcase, balanced it on her head, and hurried home to Mama. When her grandmother saw the contents, she gasped. Mom, where did you find this? In the forest, Mama. Mama Nenna stared at her granddaughter for a long time before nodding. You did well to bring it home. We must find the owner. Unknown to Chimamanda, the money belonged to Prince Ifeanyi Okorie, the heir to the throne of Umunze Kingdom, a powerful neighboring land. 3 nights before, on his way back from the airport, his convoy was ambushed by armed robbers. The attack was brutal. His guards were shot and he was dragged into the thick forest, beaten and robbed. His kidnappers are after his father's wealth, but when they couldn't extract any information from him, they stole his briefcase, filled with foreign currencies, meant for a hospital project. They left him in the forest, wounded and bleeding. By sheer luck, a group of hunters found him and carried him back to the palace. His family rejoiced at his return, but the loss of the money brought whispers of scandal. Some nobles suspected that the robbery had been an inside job, orchestrated by those who didn't want the hospital project to succeed. His family was devastated, and the villagers gossiped about the robbery. When Chimamanda heard the news in the market, she realized the truth. This was the rightful owner of the briefcase. The prince, frustrated and furious, had begun losing hope of ever recovering the money until one morning when an unusual visitor arrived at the palace. Chimamanda and Mama Nenna arrived at the Umunze Palace, standing in awe of its towering gates and grand courtyards. The guards were skeptical of them at first, but when she explained why they have come, they let them inside. Prince Ifeanyi was seated under the shade of a mango tree, his injuries still healing. When he saw the briefcase in her hands, he stood up abruptly, his heart pounding. She knelt and offered it to him. "Your Highness, I found this in the forest." He hesitated, as though afraid it was a mirage. He took it, unlatched it, and let out a long breath. Everything was still inside. "You mean you found this and didn't take a single note?" She shook her head. "No, Your Highness, it does not belong to me." The silence that followed was thick with astonishment. The nobles present exchanged looks, murmuring amongst themselves. One of the chiefs turned to the prince. "A girl like this is rare, Your Highness." Ifeanyi smiled. He studied Chimamanda, noticing the simplicity in her dress, her unassuming posture, and the honesty in her eyes. He was moved by her integrity and selflessness. In a world where wealth was often valued above integrity, Chimamanda's act was nothing short of extraordinary. He looked back at Chimamanda, his eyes softening. "What is your name?" "Chimamanda, Your Highness." He studied her for a moment. "Chimamanda, today you have saved my family from disgrace. How can I repay you?" "I do not seek a reward, Your Highness. I only did what was right." His admiration for her grew. He saw not only honesty, but also wisdom and humility. Over the next few months, Prince Ifeanyi found himself thinking of Chimamanda often. Despite her humble background, she carried herself with dignity and intelligence. As time goes by, Ifeanyi visited them often, drawn to Chimamanda's wisdom and charm. Despite their differences in status, they became friends. Their friendship blossomed into love, and he began visiting Mama Nena's home under the disguise of checking on them. Each visit deepened his respect and admiration for Chimamanda, and soon admiration turned into love. However, their love was not without challenges. The royal courtyard disapproved. The nobles whispered that she was a commoner, an orphan, a market girl. "She is beneath you," one elder told the prince. Prince Ifeanyi simply smiled. "She has more riches in her heart than any princess I have ever met." Eventually, his family relented, seeing the depth of his love for Chimamanda. Their wedding became the talk of the entire region, a royal celebration that brought together both the rich and the poor. The villagers, who had once seen Chimamanda as just a simple market girl, now called her the Queen of Honesty. Chimamanda's life changed forever, not because she chased after riches, but because she chose integrity over greed. As queen, she never forgot her roots. She worked alongside the prince to build schools and hospitals, ensuring that no other orphan would have to struggle as she once did. And whenever people asked her how she, a poor orphan, became the wife of a prince, she would simply smile and say, "Honesty opens doors that even money cannot." Honesty and integrity will always be rewarded, even in unexpected ways. Your background does not define your future. Your character does. And true love values the heart, not status.